The rainbow bracelet was hidden beneath the teenager's sleeve as Lady Gaga talked about authenticity and the courage it takes to live your truth. Ellen was discussing the pop icon's latest artistic evolution when she noticed the young person in the fourth row constantly adjusting their sleeve while staring at Gaga with desperate longing. What happened next would prove that sometimes the most important performances aren't on concert stages, but in living rooms where young people gather the courage to say 3 words that could change everything. This is me. It was an electric Monday afternoon at the Ellen DeGeneres show, and the studio pulsed with anticipation. 400 audience members, many of them LGBTQ+ youth and allies, had gathered to see one of music's most fearless advocates for authenticity discuss her latest work. Ellen, stunning in a bold, rainbow-accented blazer that caught the studio lights perfectly, was thoroughly enjoying her conversation with Lady Gaga, who looked absolutely radiant in a flowing silver ensemble, her presence commanding the studio with that blend of artistic fearlessness and hard-won wisdom about the cost and power of living authentically. "Gaga," Ellen said, leaning forward with genuine enthusiasm, "you've always been about encouraging people to be exactly who they are. With this new artistic direction, what message do you want to send to young people who are still afraid to show their true selves?" Lady Gaga's eyes lit up with the passion that had driven her from the underground clubs to global stardom. "Ellen, I want them to know that the world needs exactly who they are, not who they think they should be. Every time someone has the courage to live authentically, to say, 'This is me and I'm not apologizing,' they give permission to someone else to do the same. But I also know how terrifying it can be, especially when you're young and the people you love might not understand." The audience responded with thunderous applause, many young people nodding through tears. This wasn't just celebrity promotion. This was validation that felt like oxygen. "And family acceptance," Ellen continued. "That's often the hardest part. How do you find the courage when you're afraid the people you love most might reject you?" "That's the heartbreak," Gaga said honestly. "Because love should be unconditional. But sometimes families need time to learn that love means accepting your child exactly as they are. And while they're learning, young people are suffering in silence, hiding parts of themselves that are beautiful and deserve to be celebrated." That's when Ellen noticed them. In the fourth row, slightly to the left, sat a teenager who appeared to be around 17. They had shoulder-length brown hair and wore a simple gray hoodie. Their name was Jordan Kim, though Ellen didn't know it yet. What caught Ellen's attention was the way Jordan was staring at Lady Gaga with such intense yearning while constantly pulling at their sleeve, occasionally revealing a flash of rainbow colors underneath. Jordan's eyes were filled with tears, and they kept glancing toward what appeared to be their parents sitting beside them. An older Korean couple who seemed focused on the show, but unaware of their child's internal struggle. Jordan's hands were shaking as they fidgeted with their sleeve, clearly wrestling with some internal battle about visibility versus safety. Ellen's instincts, sharpened through 20 years of reading her audiences, told her this wasn't someone inspired by Gaga's message of authenticity. This was someone terrified to live it. "Gaga," Ellen said gently, "hold that thought about young people suffering in silence. I think someone in our audience needs to hear this conversation right now." Lady Gaga followed Ellen's gaze toward Jordan, her expression immediately shifting from entertainer to fierce advocate as she recognized the signs of someone hiding a fundamental part of themselves. Ellen stood up from her chair and took several steps toward the audience. "Sweetheart in the fourth row, you look like you have something you want to say." Jordan looked up, terrified by the sudden attention of 400 people and multiple cameras. They quickly pulled their sleeve down completely and shook their head, clearly panicking. "I'm okay," Jordan whispered, their voice barely audible. "I don't want to cause any trouble." Ellen walked down the steps that separated the stage from the audience, something she did only when every instinct told her someone was drowning in their own fear. "What's your name, honey?" Ellen asked, now standing directly in front of Jordan's row. "Jordan Kim. I'm 17. Ellen knelt down in the aisle beside Jordan's row, her rainbow-accented blazer spreading around her as she created a safe space in what must have felt like terrifying exposure. "Jordan, I noticed you've been adjusting your sleeve. Is there something under there you want to show us?" Jordan looked between Ellen and their parents, who were now paying attention with expressions of confusion and growing concern. "I don't know," Jordan said, their voice cracking with emotion. "I've been wearing it for months, but I've never let anyone see it." The studio fell into that particular silence that happens when hundreds of people sense they're about to witness someone's most vulnerable truth. From the stage, Lady Gaga stood up immediately. Without being asked, without consulting producers, she walked down to join Ellen and Jordan. This celebrity interview had just become something infinitely more important. Lady Gaga approached Jordan with the reverence of someone who understood exactly what it meant to fear rejection for who you are. "Jordan," Gaga said softly, "whatever you're hiding under that sleeve, it's part of who you are, isn't it?" Jordan's composure cracked completely. "Yes," they whispered. "But my parents, they don't know. They wouldn't understand. They think being gay is just a phase, something Western kids do for attention." Ellen felt her heart breaking as she watched this teenager carry the weight of their identity like a secret shame. "Jordan, how long have you known?" "Since I was 13, Jordan replied, their voice growing stronger despite their fear. "But I've never told anyone. I bought this bracelet last year online, but I've only worn it under long sleeves because I was afraid someone would see it and tell my parents." Lady Gaga knelt beside Ellen, creating an intimate circle, while Jordan's parents watched with growing understanding of what they were witnessing. "Jordan, can I see the bracelet?" Gaga asked gently. Jordan looked at their parents, who nodded encouragingly despite their obvious confusion and concern. Slowly, Jordan rolled up their sleeve to reveal a simple rainbow pride bracelet, worn thin from months of hidden wearing. The studio erupted in supportive applause, but Jordan looked terrified rather than relieved. "Jordan," Ellen said carefully, "your parents are right here with us. Do they know what that bracelet represents?" Jordan shook their head, tears streaming now. "They know what rainbows mean, but they don't know it means me. They don't know their kid is gay." Jordan's mother, Mrs. Kim, spoke up in accented English. "Jordan, you are our child. We love you no matter what." "But you always said—" Jordan started, then stopped. "What did they always say?" Ellen asked gently. "That being gay was not natural, that it was American influence, that they hoped I would find a nice girl and give them grandchildren," Jordan said, their voice breaking completely. "They're not bad people. They just don't understand that this isn't something I chose." Lady Gaga's expression had shifted into something Ellen had rarely seen from any celebrity, a fierce maternal protectiveness that transcended performance. "Mr. and Mrs. Kim," Gaga said, addressing Jordan's parents directly, "I want you to know something. Your child didn't choose to be gay any more than they chose to have brown eyes. This is who they are, who they've always been, and hiding it for 4 years has been slowly breaking their heart." Mrs. Kim looked at her child, really looked, for the first time in this conversation. "Jordan, you have been sad for so long. We thought it was just teenager problems." "I've been sad because I thought if you knew the real me, you wouldn't love me anymore," Jordan admitted. Jordan's father, who had been silent until now, spoke up. "We moved to America so you could be free to be yourself. How can we deny you that freedom in our own home?" Ellen stood up slowly, her heart racing as she realized they were witnessing a family's potential transformation in real time. "Jordan, what do you want your parents to know?" Jordan looked down at their rainbow bracelet, then back up at their parents with courage they'd been building for 4 years. "I want them to know that I'm still their kid. I still want to make them proud. I still love them. But I also love who I am, and I'm tired of hiding it. I'm gay, and I'm not going to apologize for it anymore." Lady Gaga reached into her purse and pulled out something that caught the studio lights, a small rainbow pin that clearly had personal significance. "Jordan," Gaga said, "this pin has been with me since my early days performing in small clubs, when I was still figuring out my own identity and learning to love myself. I want you to have it." She pinned it carefully to Jordan's hoodie. "Not because you need anything from me, but because you need to remember that coming out isn't a one-time event. It's a daily choice to live authentically, and today you made that choice in front of 400 people and your parents. That's courage." Ellen began removing her rainbow-accented blazer. "Jordan, this blazer has been with me through some of my most important interviews. But today it's witnessing something more important than any celebrity story. It's witnessing love winning." She placed the blazer around Jordan's shoulders. "You wore that bracelet in secret for months, but today you let the whole world see it. And your parents are still here, still loving you." But it was what happened next that brought the entire studio to tears. Mrs. Kim stood up, walked over to Jordan, and gently took their hand, looking at the rainbow bracelet. "This bracelet," she said in careful English, "it has been part of you all this time. I want to understand it. I want to understand you." Mr. Kim joined his wife. "We may not understand everything, but we understand love. And we love you." Lady Gaga stood up and addressed the cameras directly. "If there are young people watching this who are hiding who they are from their families, please know that you deserve to be loved for exactly who you are. And if there are parents watching whose children are LGBTQ+, please know that your love and acceptance can literally save their lives." The moment that brought the entire studio to sustained applause came when Ellen asked Jordan what they wanted to say to other young LGBTQ+ people who were afraid to come out. "I want them to know that the fear is real, but so is the possibility that the people who love you will choose to understand," Jordan said, their voice strong and clear for the first time. "And even if it's scary, living your truth is better than hiding in shame." Jordan's parents were crying now, not from sadness but from understanding how much pain their child had been carrying alone. 3 months later, Jordan Kim appeared on the Ellen DeGeneres show again, but this time they were accompanied by both parents, who had become advocates for LGBTQ+ acceptance in their Korean American community. Lady Gaga, who had stayed in regular contact with the family, appeared in person to celebrate their journey and announce the launch of a program specifically designed to help Asian American families navigate LGBTQ+ acceptance. The segment sparked a national conversation about cultural barriers to LGBTQ+ acceptance and the importance of family support in youth mental health. Jordan became an advocate for LGBTQ+ Asian American youth, speaking at community centers about the intersection of cultural identity and sexual orientation. Ellen learned that day that her job wasn't to interview famous people about their latest projects. Her job was to create moments where love could overcome fear, where families could learn to see their children fully, and where young people could stop carrying the weight of their truth alone. Lady Gaga learned that the most important performances happen not on concert stages, but in living rooms where young people find the courage to say, "This is me," and families choose love over prejudice. And Jordan Kim learned that sometimes the scariest thing you can do, showing your true colors to the people whose opinion matters most, is also the thing that sets you free to finally be yourself. Because the most powerful songs aren't always the ones that top the charts. Sometimes they're the ones that play in family rooms where parents learn to love their children exactly as they are, where rainbow bracelets stop being secrets and start being celebrations, and where "Born This Way" stops being just a lyric and becomes a family's new understanding of love.